For most of his 84-year history in various media, Superman has been defined by the restraint he employs while using his incredible abilities in combat. But there have been some instances where good old Supes has taken some lives in the heat of battle. So, with this in mind, I'm Dan from What Culture, and these are the 10 most powerful characters killed by Superman. Number 10. Doomsday, the death of Superman. Following his escape from his underground tomb, Doomsday went on a destructive rampage throughout the country that eventually attracted the Justice League's attention. After a brief but violent encounter with the Behemoth, only Clark was left standing to face the new and powerful threat. Doomsday's animalistic rage and sheer might forced the hero to tap into the reserves of power he had previously held back, just to keep up with his opponent. And naturally, this display of strength proved to be dangerous for both combatants, as well as the various environments they clashed in. While the Man of Steel was able to put down the threat before it escalated any further, it came at the expense of his own life. Subsequent encounters with the monster have seen the hero win by the skin of his teeth, due to Doomsday's terrifying regenerative abilities. Number 9. General Zod, Superman number 22. Not too long after his origin, abilities, and nature were rebooted in Crisis on Infinite Earths, Superman was placed in the uncomfortable position of having to kill to save countless lives. Through the machinations of the Time Trapper, the mainstream Superman encounters a younger version of himself from a pocket universe that was similar to the pre-Crisis timeline. This meant that Superboy and all Kryptonians from this time were significantly more powerful than Clark, and the latter got first-hand experience of this when he encountered that time's General Zod. The villain went on a destructive rampage throughout the alternate timeline, and Superman was forced to intervene after his counterpart had died earlier on. Ultimately, the hero depowered and killed the rogue alien using a combination of gold and green kryptonite respectively. While the pocket universe was spared, this execution weighed heavily on the hero, who up to this point had never taken a life. Number 8. The Flash, deceased. In 2019's Deceased, the Earth is infected by a techno-organic virus that was born out of Darkseid's interference with Cyborg's body. The virus quickly spreads over the planet and infects many civilians and heroes alike, including the Flash. A zombified Barry then zips around the planet, infecting countless people in the process. Realizing that he is the only one who can keep up with this hero, Superman flies around the world and collides into his former teammate, instantly killing him. Unfortunately, some of the Flash's remains get lodged into Superman's side, infecting him in the process. Then, the zombified Kryptonian goes on a frenzied path of his own that culminates in him absorbing the sun itself to wipe out the entire solar system. Number 7. Wonder Woman, Superman Batman, absolute power. In this timeline, Superman and Batman were raised by the futuristic legion of supervillains to be global dictators. And, fitting with the territory, this new version of the beloved heroes were vicious murderers who held nothing back while dealing with any opposition they came across. During a clash with Wonder Woman, Uncle Sam, and the Freedom Fighters, Diana kills this version of Bruce Wayne, and this angers Clark, who viciously beats the heroine into submission before strangling her with her own lasso of truth. Fortunately, after much time hopping and multiple deaths for the titular heroes, the timeline was reset and the damage done by the legion of supervillains was undone, ensuring that the world's finest followed their intended paths in the timeline. Number 6. Shazam, Injustice Gods Among Us Year 1. The Injustice comics and games have seen Superman commit countless atrocities throughout his 5-year reign over the planet. From killing Green Arrow, the Joker, and untold numbers of innocents, there was no line that Kal-El would not cross in his quest for his version of global order. Towards the end of his reign, the former hero began to lose the trust of his allies. One such hero was Billy Batson, who became disillusioned with his teammates' decision to raze Gotham and whatever remained of Metropolis to the ground. The young hero made the mistake of invoking the late Lois Lane's name to call out the cruelty of Superman's plan. This enraged the unstable Kryptonian, and before Shazam could use his eponymous phrase to defend himself, Superman sealed Billy's mouth shut with his freeze breath and used his heat vision to burn through his head, killing him in the process. Number 5. Mogul, and Ganthet, Injustice Gods Among Us Year 2. A sentient planet, Mogul at some point joined the Green Lantern Corps, but was not known for being the most outgoing being out there, what with being a living planet and all. That said, he is one of the most powerful Green Lanterns alive, and it's easy to see why. This made his death at the hands of the Yellow Lantern Superman all the more shocking in the Injustice comic series. Before encountering the now tyrannical Man of Steel, Mogul proved instrumental in wiping out a significant number of the Sinestro Corps members, and was a key component in confronting the fallen hero and his villainous allies. But unfortunately for them, Superman possessed a Yellow Lantern ring, and this boosted his already considerable power and made him even more of a threat to Mogul himself. Then, Supes used his newfound power to push Mogul into the sun, killing both him and Ganthet in the process. Number 4. A Rogue Sunita. Action Comics number 847. Worried about her son's well-being in the Phantom Zone, Martha Kent expresses concern to Jonathan about the impending invasion from Zod and his allies. Jonathan attempts to alleviate his wife's woes by sharing a tale about their son's indomitable will in the face of adversity. A while back, the father and son embarked on an interstellar trip that saw Clark and an alien civilization defeat a Rogue Sunita. While the superhero didn't use his powers in battle, he was instrumental in its defeat by transporting a powerful explosive known as an entropy bomb to the entity's core. In addition to this entry being one of a kind due to the Sunitas not being sentient beings, it's not every day that Superman's parents are involved in his adventures. Number 3. Imperiex. Our Worlds at War. The Our Worlds at War saga is one of DC's most underrated crossover events. In it, the godlike being, Imperiex, felt that the current universe was flawed and sought to remake it as he saw fit. Using Mongul's Warworld as a conduit for his power, the cosmic entity began his galactic rampage. A massive battle ensued, and, in the process, the villainous Brainiac 13 took advantage of the situation and absorbed Imperiex's apocalyptic energies for himself. This unexpected team-up forced Superman to increase his power by diving into the sun and pushing Warworld through a boom tube that the other heroes had created. Before this cosmic phenomenon wiped out Imperiex and Brainiac 13, the former found out that the flaw in the universe he discovered was in fact himself. Number 2. Mr. Mxyzptlk. Whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow? Normally, the fifth dimensional imp is no more than a nuisance in Superman's life, but this was far from the case in the seminal Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow storyline. This 1986 comic served as a coda for the pre-crisis Superman and pitted him against his foes, who had become more dangerous than ever before. In addition to this, Superman's secret identity was exposed to the world, placing his loved ones at risk. After several dangerous encounters, which left most of his friends and foes dead, the titular hero realized that he had not encountered the omnipotent imp at any point. This is where Mixie revealed himself as the instigator behind Clark's current woes. To prevent further annihilation through the imp's deranged influence, Superman traps Mxyzptlk between his home dimension and the Phantom Zone, literally tearing the imp in two. Dejected by his actions, Superman strips himself of his abilities and goes into hiding in order to live a normal life. And number 1, Darkseid, Final Crisis. Final Crisis saw the Earth turn to ground zero for Darkseid's ultimate plan to wipe out the cosmos before his demise. Naturally, the universe's various heroes sought to stop this plan, even as they were being falling prey to Darkseid's destructive nature. Before the villain's essence could wipe out the entirety of the DC universe, Superman noted that it operated on a very specific frequency that he could counter with a powerful note of his own. This high-pitched sound was able to dissipate the new god's essence and wipe him out for good. And while the idea of Superman defeating Darkseid with a high-pitched note, of all things, might sound ridiculous and anticlimactic to some, it showcases the hero's ingenuity and his ability to overcome threats without having to resort to simple blows. And that's our list. You can find more lists like this on screen now. But for now though, I've been Dan, and I'll catch you in the next one.